Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Dell Latitude 155520. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to get inside, and many of the various components you can access and upgrade once you're in. So first thing, power down your computer, make sure that it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access the bottom case screws. This computer has 8 screws on the bottom case near the red arrows. They're captive screws, which means they don't actually come out of the bottom case, even though they're fully unscrewed. Once you unscrew them, you're going to take a small, flat pry tool. It's generally best to start near one of the back 2 corners near the hinges, and you're going to insert it in the seam of the bottom case in the computer and gently pry off that bottom case. Now, don't put the pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Just keep it on the edge. Go nice and slow but firm, and you'll be able to get that bottom case off. After you do, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any of the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer, I will have a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all the tools and supplies, as well as the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. Now, before touching anything in a computer, it's always best to unplug your battery first. Computers are safer to work on when as little power as possible is running through them. Now, this is your battery right down here along the bottom of my screen. It is a 15.2 volt battery, 63 watt hours. The Dell part number is RJ40G. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also have a replacement battery in that list I told you about with all of those tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this computer. Now, the battery is held down by the screws near the red arrows, and it plugs into the motherboard near the blue arrow. Now, that plug, you'll see on top of it, there's a black pull tab. That's how you would unplug it. You just pull that directly up and off of the motherboard to unplug that pull tab. One thing to mention about this operation, if you are here because your computer is not turning on, it could be a bad battery. You may have to replace it, but keep in mind that most laptops should still turn on and work with a bad battery as long as the charger is plugged in and working. So if your computer is not turning on, there could be something else wrong other than just a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting your issue, I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description, and that will be the full troubleshooting process I use in my shop to find out why a laptop's not turning on and how to fix it. Near the blue arrows, you see 2 SODIMM RAM slots. This computer takes DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, and it has a maximum RAM capacity of 64 gigabytes. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also have several replacement and upgrade options for you in that list I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. I will have a couple different options for a single 8 gigabyte stick in case your stick goes bad, you need to replace it, but you're not looking to spend more money than you have to. I will also have a couple different options for a 16 gigabyte kit, which would include 2 8 gigabyte sticks, one for each port. The reason why I include a couple different options is because RAM tends to sell really fast. People like upgrading their RAM. So I have 2 options there. So if one is unavailable, hopefully the other one will still be available. As far as upgrades, I will have a couple different options for a 32 gigabyte kit, which would be 2 16 gigabyte sticks, one for each port. And then to max out your RAM, I will have a couple different options for a 64 gigabyte kit, which would be 2 32 gigabyte kits, one for each port. As noted by the red arrows, there are 2 solid-state drive ports here. These are M.2 ports, PCIe NVMe. They take Gen 4 solid-state drives in either 2230 or 2280 sizes. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, and I will also have several replacement and upgrade options for you in that link I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. As seen in this computer, many of you will have a single 2230 size drive when you buy the computer. So I will have a replacement option and an upgrade option for that 2230 size. I will have a 500 gigabyte size drive. If, let's say, this one went bad, you need to replace it, but you don't really want to spend a whole lot. But I will also include a 1 terabyte size drive upgrade for this 2230. For the larger 2280 size drives, I will also have a 500 gigabyte drive, but I will also include a terabyte, a 2 terabyte, and a 4 terabyte in that 2280 size if you guys want to upgrade. And if you desire a lot of extra bulk storage, long-term storage, you may want to consider an external drive. I will also have in that list a large solid-state external drive and a large hard drive external drive. And by way of just an educational video, if you guys want to know more information on the difference between hard drives and various kinds of solid-state drives, I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, and it will just be a little intro video showing you how they're different from each other. It may help you decide which ones you want in different situations. The way to operate the solid-state drive is to remove that single screw on the end in the middle. The solid-state drive will then release, and you can pull it out of that port. Also, keep in mind, if you are installing a new drive onto this computer, you may need to install an operating system onto it afterwards. I will have video tutorial links below in the description showing you how to do that. Also, be aware that if you're replacing a drive that has gone bad, it's usually possible to recover data even from those bad drives. I will have more information about that below in the description as well. The Wi-Fi card is noted near the red arrow. You would remove the screw noted by the blue arrow, and that Wi-Fi card will release, and then you can take it out of that port. After that, the only thing left on the card would be the antenna wire, and those are just snaps. So to remove those, you would just pull directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card, and those will snap off. However, they do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on, and you are strong enough to damage them if they're not at the right angle and you try to force it. So it could be a pain in the butt, but just go nice and slow, be patient. You will be able to snap those back on. I will have all the Wi-Fi card specifications below in the description if you would like help finding a replacement, but I will also try to have a replacement option for you in that list I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts for this model computer. As a side note, if you are having issues in your computer where you cannot see any Wi-Fi networks, you can't access your Wi-Fi options, that's most likely a system driver issue. It's probably not a Wi-Fi card issue. I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, also above in the video, and that will help you troubleshoot that before coming in here to try an invasive repair like this. This computer has 2 speakers near the red arrows. Now these speakers are not actually screwed down. If you notice the colored rubber washers over those posts for sound insulation, that's all that's holding them down. So if you need to get those speakers up, you can just wiggle them right off of those posts. The speaker near the right of my screen does not plug into the motherboard itself. As you see, it's connected by the wire near the blue arrow to the speaker on the left side of my screen. If you are here to replace your speakers, as a side note, make sure you rerun those wires exactly as is in your computer. If you have the same model I'm using, then pause the video. If you don't, take a picture of your computer, but you want to make sure those wires are run exactly as they should be so they don't get pinched when you go to shut your computer up. The speaker on the left side of my screen, that plugs into the motherboard near the green arrow. Now, speaker wires are very small, very fragile. If you pull on them too hard, you could damage them or you could pull them right out of the plug. So if you're unplugging the speaker wire, make sure you use your fingernails or a pry tool or a little pair of pliers to wiggle the plug out of the port and try not to pull on the wires more than you have to. And as an extra side note, if you are having sound quality issues in your computer, if your sound is not consistent across different platforms, try updating your drivers first and trying to fix it that way before assuming that it's a speaker issue and trying an invasive repair like this. I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, also above in the video, and it will show you how to make sure your drivers are updated so you can rule that out first. This computer has a single fan by the red arrow. The heatsink goes from the fan and the vent area over the CPU area noted by the blue arrow. If you're here to simply replace a fan, be careful when taking it up The fan wires are exceptionally fragile. Be sure to not pull on those wires more than you have to. Just try to manipulate the plug, if at all possible, with your fingernails or a pry tool or even a small pair of pliers. If you're here to clean out your computer, maybe you're experiencing overheating issues, you will be able to blow out or vacuum out that fan once you get it up. I will have a nice vacuum blower option below in the description in that link I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts. I will also try to have a replacement fan option in there as well. For those of you that are having overheating issues, or maybe you're just doing preventative maintenance, after taking the 4 screws up by the CPU near the blue arrow, you are going to want to clean off all the old thermal paste before reapplying your new thermal paste. You don't want to put new paste on top of old paste. It won't work very well. If you need help with any of this operation, I will have a video tutorial link below in the description. Also, I'll put it above in the video. It will show you how to fix an overheating laptop. And one of the things it will show is how to clean off all the old paste from both the CPU and the heatsink. And then it will show how to apply the correct amount of new thermal paste. If you put too much down, obviously it won't work, but if you put too much, it ends up locking heat in rather than facilitating its transport out. So again, that video will be available if you need it. One more thing to shout out about thermal paste, they're not all created equal. Generally speaking, the cheaper stuff will do a good job, but a little more expensive stuff will do a better job. I will try to have 2 different thermal pastes in that list for you to choose from. But that's the end of the video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, check out the FAQs below in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer. If you do need to leave me a question or comment, please feel free. I do try to get to those a couple times a day at least. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.